Few. Define few. I know the management team is to be back in 5:15. Captive audience, wonderful stuff. Yeah, so it's been a long time, and I think it was Rachel Allard who said, "How many bosses did you have?" I said, "I don't remember, but none of them are in IFC any longer except Sadia, and she's been my boss for less than a month." So none of my bosses are still in IFC. I had invited some of them, but none of them showed up. So I'd just like to run through a series of thanks, and it'll be a little historical, might take a little bit of time. Matt DeHasia, y'all remember him? He was a vice president here.
I do.
He and Paul Donovan, as YP administrator, interviewed me for the YP program back in Delhi. Very important to me. Michael Dixon, my first division manager, who was the perfect buffer between IOs and Azam Ali side. And those for old-timers will remember Azam Ali side. PB Kwan was my next manager. Again, some people will remember him. Delightful person, commercial-minded, great heart. He was my first principal IO on an appraisal mission, and we had a little break, so we went on a safari in Kenya, and he wanted to get out of the Jeep and take the tail of a zebra with some lions that just finished feeding on. This is the kind of guy he was. Anyway, PB Kwan. PB Kwan then became Director Asia. This was in Latin America. He became Director Asia and was responsible for pulling me, if that's the right word, to go to Jakarta as res rep, where I spent three delightful years, and where we spent 3 delightful years. PB Kwan, again, this was the time, 92, when the big reorganization took place, and they created the industry departments. So I called up PB and I said, "PB, you're not the only person who's my boss. Now I have 5 bosses." He says, "Remember who does your salary increase?" Very to the point. Remind you of, yeah, that's fine, that's the big message, but Farrell Freeman for a short time was Director Asia. Then came back from Asia to Africa, where Tay Mante was my director. I was manager East and Southern Africa. And then Tay moved to agriculture, and Cesare Kalani took over as director, and that was a delightful relationship because Cesare is, he operates on many different wavelengths. It's a lot of fun. And then after Cesare, for a very short period of time, Eddie Salaya, but then I got my director job as trust funds, and Freda Kambata was my boss, and I learned not to surprise your boss, to make sure you tell them in advance, but you don't have to ask them everything. And then Asad and Peter persuaded me to start, so that was the trust funds department. They persuaded me to start the business risk department. Freda was boss for some time, and then Michelle took over. I learned 3 points, communication stuff from him. And now Sadia, I'm sorry, I don't have any opportunity to learn from you, but I promise to try and make it up. And with all these bosses were the people who were the powers behind the throne in each case. Lily Tiansen Young, delightful person. I don't know how many of you know Marilyn Han. So Lily was like Marilyn, only quieter, fabulously effective. Carmen Torres, I was hoping that she would be here today. She's been here in IFC longer than I have. Carmen worked for PB, then for Chip Parry. Strong, delightful. Eva Knight, who worked for PB and Varro at EA in Asia. Then when I moved to Africa, Margie, who's here, that was a delightful partnership. We, I don't know whose idea it was, so I'm going to give her the credit. We did a job exchange. She did a job exchange. She went and lived in Nairobi for 4 or 5 months. 3 months, and Jill Brooke, who was the EA in the Nairobi office, came and worked for me for 3 months. And that was delightful. It really helped all of us. Margie was very upset with me when I moved to trust funds because I didn't take her with me. I think that's a tradition IFC needs to change, taking people with you. Because people are needed in both places and there are jobs in both places. You can't take people with you. I know she was very upset, but I think we're friends now. Leslie Christensen was in trust funds. Fabulous. She'd been in the EVP's office. She was upset when I moved to business risk. Didn't take her. But then I partnered with Tuli. And that was a fabulous partnership as well. So people have been solid all along. Bosses, people who work with bosses. Carmelita and Kananaiko, strong people. Quiet, healthy. So that's my long list of thanks. There are many, many more, but I can't possibly go through all the names. I just had to pick a specific universe and say thank you. Thought that I had was about IFC, and everybody asked me, so you've been here so long, what do you think about IFC? What do you think is going to happen? I don't know, it's different. We were on 3.5 floors of the I building, now we're 107, 37, whatever. So, totally different. Totally different. But the people are the same. Absolutely, the people are the same. The people want to work. It's the organization, I think, that needs to think a little harder. Some years ago, there was a movie made when Peter White came on board, and IFC was referred to as the International Fettuccine Corporation. Stephanie von Friedeberg was very involved. David Harris, the evil genius of David Harris. And at that time, the International Fettuccine Corporation was worried about the pasta we made, and that other people were making pasta better than us, quicker than us, and cheaper than us. That was the challenge. Today, I don't think that's the challenge anymore, even though we seem to be trying to fight that challenge. I think today the challenge is, what pasta do people really want? Or do they really want pasta or something else nutritious? So we've really got to become food specialists, nutritionists, rather than pasta makers and pasta sellers. And we'll figure out what nutrition do they need, and we can give you 17, maybe 29 types of pasta. We find other people who can find other kinds of food and get them to you, and we take credit for putting the menu together. And if we can do that, we'll be the global fettuccine corporation.